Yeah, how you doing, everybody? It's Friday the 11th of December 2009, and it's just after 8 o'clock in the evening, and I want to just touch on the budget if I could. We had the famous budget obviously there the other day, Lennon's budget, and it was well touted. There wasn't anything dramatic in it that I saw. It was just a direct assault on the working class and the lower middle class and the underclass, because these, while are only small percentages he measured, the people that are just about getting by in society and getting by in life, these represent big amounts of money, and especially for families that have young children and all that. It's like it's serious stuff, because the level of disposable income that they would have would be very, very small, and every penny sort of counts, and just the whole thing, it's a debacle. The whole thing, it's a debacle. So this is going to cause real hurt and real injury to ordinary families. There's no way of getting around this, or ignoring it. And I think for the unions to have any credibility at all, they're going to have to do something. They really are. They're going to have to do something and do it dramatically. And we'd see what happens anyway in the new year, because nothing's going to happen until the new year. But one thing that he did do, Lennon, which was an interesting thing, I put the link up there. It's the link's an Irish Times article, and what it is, it's a little synopsis on the overall elements of the overall finance bill, the budget itself, and it deals with this thing that I've been rabbiting on for the last 6-9 months about the tax exiles. And Lenihan, it's a half-hearted measure, really. You have to think about it, but he introduced this levy, €200,000 levy, and to fall into the levy, they have to earn €1 million a year, which to you and I seems like a huge amount of money. I can assure you to these guys, €1 million a year is nothing. It's fucking tiny stuff. And they have to have assets in Ireland of 5 million. So what will happen is, if they don't want to pay it, they won't pay it. They'll get accountants to rubber stamp the thing, and it'll say they earn less than $1 million a year. And as for property valuations for their assets, who's to know what property valuations are worth now? You know what I mean, in real terms. Who's to know? When is a house worth 5 million? When is it worth 3.5 million? You know what I mean? You don't know. When is it worth 3 million? You don't know. So if they want to pay it, they will pay it. But if they want to get around not paying it, they'll get around not paying it. If you understand what I mean. The other thing is, just instead of thinking in terms of 1 million, think about what a lot of these guys earn. A lot of these guys earn serious dollars. Just jump up to 5 million, which is what the super rich are defined in the Sunday Times rich list as earning a year. 5 million or more. 200,000 of 5 million is 4%. 200,000 of 10, when you earn 10 million, 2%. So, like, it's like an irritation to these people. Do you know what I mean? It's like something landing on their arm, like a fly or something. Get rid of that. It'd be like that. They don't really have big hang-ups about that amount of money if they don't want to. I'm saying if they want to make some sort of contribution, they can do it. All right. So to me, it's a half-hearted affair, because really it doesn't. As I say, if they want to pay it, they will pay it. If they don't want to pay it, they'll get their accounts rubber stamped by some dodgy accountancy company somewhere offshore. And what is the revenue? What's the Irish revenue going to do? How's the Irish revenue going to prove what they earn externally? Okay, the Irish revenue has to accept these figures and facts that they send in. There's no way of validating this. Okay, they may have a method of validating their asset base in Ireland, but they're not going to be able to validate what they earn. They'll have to accept what comes in from outside. And if it's done some dodgy accounting company in Barbados or whatever, they'll just have to accept it. End of story. So what I'm saying is, if these are the good and the mighty want to pay this levy, they'll pay it. They don't want to pay the levy, they won't pay it. End of story. There's no pressure whatsoever on it here. Alright? The other thing I just want to put into context is, all this shenanigans and all this media coverage and all this whole business and all the pressure is going to be put on these hundreds of thousands of families all over this country is for €4 billion. Alright, so they can go to their masters in Europe, Linehan and Cowan, go to their masters in Europe and say, look, this is what we're doing, and the boys in the European Central Bank and the boys in the IMF will say, okay, they're trying their best, they're doing what we tell them, we can give them more money. That's what this is all about, okay? And just bear this in mind. Two men, a man called Liam Carroll of Zoe Developments, another man called Bernard McNamara. Alright? He's actually the number one. They say he's actually the number one developer in the whole country. This fella. Between the two of them, they owe the banks just less than €3.5 billion. Just think about it. Two men owe the banks 3 point something. It's just less than €3.5 billion. That's what all this budget was about, the amount of money. So to put this NAMA stuff in the perspective and all, they reckon that the whole NAMA amount of money that we're going to be borrowing, which is I think 46 billion, it's all, the bulk of it, not all of it, but the bulk of it is controlled and centres and is focused on the loans of 900 men and women in this state. Hard to believe, but true. Hard to believe, but true. I have to find out about that, by the way, but I'm really sure that's the figure. It's 900 people. So you've 900 people, put them all on a boat, or put them all on a couple of planes, or whatever, or get them into a park. And then you can imagine 900 people, not a lot of people. Just, it's their borrowings that have us where we are. Okay? So, anyway, that's that. I want to move on, but all I just want to say is, all this week they've been going on about the Murphy report. So that's about child abuse in the diocese of Dublin, the diocesan area of Dublin. And I just want to ask you one thing. When do you think the earliest record, what date do you think the earliest record of child abuse, official record of child abuse within the Catholic Church, now that's on hearsay or anything else, of child abuse within the Catholic Church, organised on a massive scale, took place within the Catholic Church? When do you think it would be? Sometime in the 19th century? I think it would be maybe the early 19th century or something like that. How does the beginning of the 17th century grab you? I was just doing a bit of work for this history of the Catholic Church that I'm going to do. I'm going to put this little series together. I'll probably start it next week. But I came across this book here. See this book here? I've put a scan there for you can have a wee look at it. All right. It's called Fallen Order. It's by a lady called Karen Liebrecht, and this lady is a leading Catholic theologian, sort of stroke historian. I don't know if she's a theologian, but she's an historian. And the background of this lady is this lady was doing serious research at the Vatican Library. And she came across this file in the Vatican Library, and what she found in the file stunned her, just unbelievable. She probably shouldn't have had access to it. I'd say if they'd have known that she had access to it, they probably would have kicked up. They certainly wouldn't have let her do it. They certainly wouldn't have let her write down, copy it, and do whatever she did from it. You know, she probably took notes directly from it. Anyway, she made this book, published this book. It's obviously a very specialised book. She didn't do it for her own benefit. They're not thousands and tens of thousands of people are not going to go out and buy this sort of book. I bought it just for the information in it. But the information is fascinating. And I read it very, very briefly. I read bits of it, sort of speed reading type thing. And it is fascinating. Imagine 1621, this order was set up, called the Piarists or the Piarists. And by 1646, the whole order was wound up. The order was set up with the principal purpose of educating the poor children of Rome, and it spread throughout Europe. And the Pope of the day in 1646 had to stand it down, Pope Innocent X. They were doing exactly what went on in Ireland. They were raping and sodomizing children on a massive scale. So none of this is new. No popes can tell you they didn't know anything about this. This has been going on for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. We'll talk more. Okay, bye.